So, Namaste, sir. I genuinely welcome you in Vaman Matters, and it is a pleasure that you made time in from such a busy schedule to give interview for this channel, and I will try my best to give justice to your time and for the people also which will be watching this interview. So, I want to know that a boy from a village of Bhatepuri and his journey till White House. So how you made that possible?
Yeah, first of all, thank you very much for taking time. It's always pleasure to connect back to our people, especially the village youth. Um, I always like to uh, support youth from marginalized sections, communities, as well as the rural youth to inspire them and help them to achieve their dreams. So, as you correctly say, Bhatepuri is one of the small drought-prone village in Maharashtra, district of Jalna. It's a couple of hours from Ajanta-Ellora, famous caves. That's the best way to describe. It's a uh, You always need to have dreams. If you don't have dreams, you cannot go. Dreams inspires you to achieve your goals, or at least have some goals to for self, not for anybody else. But unless you have goals, and that goals are supported by your hard work, passion, and education. um, Most important factor I believe is that you have to be very positive. You have to be very, very committed. Whatever dreams you have, you cannot give up. Even if you don't have food for 3 4 days, you cannot give up studying or going for education. So my first and most important message for the village youth is to uh, get skill. I'm not saying earn more degrees or more education or more um, any other certificates. What I will say is that find out what's in the market right now. What are the skills they need? Global market, not the your village or town, but look for the skills which are required globally. And then there are so many courses online. They are free of cost. Those skills, once you have skills, you have world is yours, and that's what matters right now. In today's world, nothing else matters. So first, find out yourself what you want to do. I was very clear when I was growing up in a village. I said, I'm not going to live this life forever. I have to do something better than what uh, I have been doing, or my parents have been doing as a farmers or landless laborers. I said, I cannot see my next generation doing the same, tiling the soil without enough payment or without having proper resources to have good family and quality of life. So I decided I will go further, study more, get all the skills required in the global market, and that's how I'm here right now. And skills are respected everywhere, despite your uh, where you are from, how you look, or what you have in today's world.
So, sir, Indian education system is very much exam oriented, and you were also a student in your young days in our country, that is in India. How you made it through this exam oriented system? I had so much.
Yeah, so the education system all over the world has somehow it's as a pass or fail, all right? To get skills, you need to have basic uh, foundational knowledge for achieving those skills. So in India, we adopted British educational system, which is morely on the uh, foundation of creating workers for the British Raj or British Swaraj. And that continued. There was a lot of reforms happen, like the schools we went to, like Navodaya Vidyalaya. Those schools tried different models, but till today it's the same pass fail or the exam oriented system. What we need to do is that primary education and higher education, those are the foundational uh, educational institutions where you can build the skills for global markets. So you need to have a basic knowledge of English, basic language of the other United Nations 5 6 languages. Those are foundational skills you need to have where you are not pass or fail. You know, if you want to speak English, I never went to the English school or English medium school, but English is a language, global language for knowledge. It's a knowledge language for the world. So that's what I thought. I read a lot of newspaper, even though when I was in school, primary school, I would just like to see what are the words there, what are the what is written there. So that's how I build my English skills, and then I went further, started writing in the English, and then I kept practicing, keep speaking whatever language you have. You need to have the skill up or be convey your message clearly and confidently. So although there are pros and cons for exam oriented system, that's the system has been working for India. Here in the US, not much. Here nobody cares how much score. If you are 100 by 100, it doesn't matter. As long as you're smart, street smart, and you're able to communicate betterly your ideas, that's what matters really. But it's good to have competition among ourselves, but your real competition is you yourself, what you want to achieve after some time when you're 20s and 30s. That's the real time you want to explore uh, your what you want from the system, educational system. If you have to be part of the system, you cannot just bring different approach. So there have been a lot of work going on within India, like IITs and Tata Institute of Social Sciences and other institutions, where more emphasis is on the actual work. You go to the work and learn. So that is called the hire and train model. That's the same way, like the just do it and learn it. So that's the future of all the educational system around the world, and I think that's what we had to focus on right now for the especially the youth. We are talking in villages. Everyone has access to internet, and internet is going to the online education is going to be the main stream for the future, and that's what I will suggest youth from our similar background people to go and seek knowledge by yourself, but you need to have basic skills to earn those two.
Whenever you had low points in your life or some difficult instances you encountered in life, which were the motivating stories or thoughts that were in your head that said that Dilip, get up and do this, you can do this? What were those things?
Right. So see, life is not a fairy tale, and especially for the youth, we are addressing from the poor background, economically deprived, not having the proper resources to achieve their dreams. It's going to be always hard. If you're poor, not having resources, and then you don't have any social capital or social network, that's a very bad situation for any youth. That's very depressing. What happens that whatever you do, you need to have larger goals. If you want to climb on the mountain or Mount Everest, you know your goal, whatever going to happen, I'm going to achieve that. And there will be different obstacles. You just need to build those skills how to deal with the issues which will encounter during your climbing to that mountain. So everyone, poor, rich, famous, everybody has a low points and high points. So you have to take them as one step at a time. See what's the root cause of that problem. Don't give up and just say, tomorrow is going to be better than this. That's how I survived throughout my last 3 4 decades. Even the US, when we came, we had a difficult time as an immigrant. You always have so many issues about racism, and you don't have enough money, you have immigration issues, you have don't have family friends around you who can support you. But what matters is that you sustain yourself, take a step further. Don't worry about people, what they are going to say. It's all about you, what you want to do, and how you want to achieve. The moment you start thinking about other people, that holds you back. That says that, oh, if I do this, what's going to happen? What's my family going to say? My parents are going to say. So don't listen to them, respect their decisions, but still do what you had to do to achieve those goals. If your goals are rich enough, there will be no low points in your life. That every step you take will be achieving those obstacles or overcoming on those obstacles. So it's a part of life, and you have to deal with.
Uh, in USA, there are racial issues, which is a very strong issue in USA. That is a social issue. And India, there is a caste issue and religious issue, but especially caste. So, what was your how the government in in USA is fighting against race issue, color issue, and what are the social organizations are doing so that all things become equal and we humans treat each other based on their skills and abilities and not on these things that caste, race, color. What was your experience?
Yeah, sure. So the inequalities throughout the world are existing there. Developed countries, underdeveloped countries, poor countries, African countries, any country, any society, throughout the ages, there have been social inequalities. There have been a lot of movements around the world in US, Martin Luther King in Africa, Nelson Mandela in India, Dr. Ambedkar in some part of the Brazil. There have been some movements going on in Nigeria, and every country I study had some social leaders who tried to bring voice their people's concerns for the government and larger society. So you need to understand, first thing, inequality is not going to go away. It's going to stay there. It might change the pattern. So if I'm in the US, nobody is going to ask my caste. Nobody is going to ask my parents' caste. Nobody cares which religion or temple or Buddha or church or mosque I go. Nobody does. Nobody cares. So it's very personal, very private. In US, what racial discrimination is mostly on the color based. So either you're brown, you're black, or you're white. So European descendant, African descendant, and some of the Indian origin, Indian American origin people. So those communities over the years fought very strongly. They raised their voice concerns very strongly and able to address those inequalities both ways. First, creating the economic power for their communities. Second, creating the political will. There was a equal participation, creating their own banks, creating their own businesses, business forums. And third one was that there was a very strong connection between white and black and brown people together to make this change. So you cannot have only black people fighting for their rights, or brown people fighting for their rights, or white people fighting for their rights. that becomes the racism. It's the reverse racism. So black wants just to be a powerful person, then you are discriminating against brown and white people. So all the communities has to come together, and that's really happened in the US, that white billionaires, they supported black leaderships to create their own banks, create their own business forums, create their own universities, support them in educational institutions. They created a lot of education was given to them. Just the admission process was so even that anybody from poor background or different race is able to come and join the schools. In India is a little different. India is a spiritual country. Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism, Muslim, uh, Islam. They have so many different faiths within in India. So the existence of like caste-based system very prevalent in all the cultures. Like even in Hinduism, if you are in Christianity, you can still have the caste-based discriminations. So those discriminations need to be worked both communities, all the communities, whatever community you belong, they need to address this very honestly. So it has to start with your family. From like I have a lot of friends from all the communities, and when I used to speak with them, their concern. So most of the people who are genuine, good-hearted people, and they want to achieve some dreams their own, they don't care about your caste, they don't care about where you came from. So the most important fact is that you have to have social conscious, build a social consciousness of the other communities, not just your communities. Like if the when we talk about the girls empowerment or woman empowerment, you cannot have only girls marching those empowerment. You need to have male as a partner. It's like a two-way street. Often in India, caste-based movements and caste-based discriminations are one-way street. Either Dalits are leading their movement, or other groups who are stronger in political ideology, they are opposing it. It's a lot of clash movement. Um, you need to have some platforms which we are trying to create globally, that we are talking to the African leaders, we are talking to the Middle Eastern leadership, we are talking about Brazil leaderships. So what I am trying to do is connecting those global platforms where I have friends in all the communities, all the countries. Then it becomes the equal partnerships, and then suddenly you have every community coming together and say, "Oh, yes, inequality is a problem, caste discrimination is a problem," and it's a fact. Any inequality is inhuman, should not be there, but it still exists. What bothers me is that the social consciousness of all the communities has been very low. They always, it's becoming very selfish, and our selfish desires are combined as a community, and communities are fighting with each other. So there is no end there. We need to have new leadership, new generation coming to us, and they have to talk about modern way to deal with such issues. That how can we deal with the caste discrimination? It just take the small steps from the upper leadership, like the prime minister and chief ministers and all political leadership, as well as the spiritual leadership, all the spiritual leaders from all the communities. They need to have bombard this message that this is wrong. Caste discriminations are wrong, and that's how we will build the society uh, globally.